And joining me now is OneWeb CEO Greg Weiler from Palm Beach, Florida. As mentioned before, satellite startup OneWeb is the first company to receive an investment from SoftBank's Vision Fund. Welcome to the show. And 3,000 jobs over 4 years. We're talking engineering, we're talking manufacturing. Is the talent ready and present to be hired in the US?
I think it is, and we're getting some great applications. We're growing fast. We have a lot of job openings on our site, and we're continuing to look for more people. But there certainly is a lot of talent here.
Here, and looking abroad as well, would you be concerned in any way potentially about restrictions on visas, or is this really something you can add to jobs in the United States?
Well, we are global, so we have jobs around the world. In the U.S., on occasion, we do have issues with visas. It's nice to have more easy transport of talent across the borders, that's for sure. But there is quite a big, a good amount of talent in the U.S. We've got a great university system and a lot of great kids coming out of college now with just an amazing skill set.
How much do you sort of thank Donald Trump or indeed Masayoshi Son for this investment at the moment? Do you think it was really inspired by Donald Trump's call for jobs to be back in the United States?
Well, backing up and saying we raised about $500 million last year, and we put a plan together to raise $500 million this year and $500 million next year. And we're building a satellite system which will provide very high-speed internet access, eventually gigabit speed internet access, to the other half of the world, the 4 billion people who are without access. So this is a very large program, and it's very much related to bridging the digital divide. That's our mission by 2027, and to connect every school of the world by 2022. So Masa had joined us and looked at our mission, really embraced it, as many of the governments around the world have done, and saw how important this was really for humanity to allow everybody to have access to the world's information. And his contribution, his investment has been extremely helpful. He met with President-elect Donald Trump. He increased his investment, and that's great as well. And so we ended up with a $1.2 billion investment now, which was more than we had expected when we went out to raise funds, and puts us in a really great position to accomplish our goals.
I mean, this is a really amazing vision that you have in terms of connecting those who are unconnected in the most far-off, far-flung places, one that you've dedicated much of your life to. In terms of why now? Because other companies have tried to do this, sending constellations of satellites into near space. Why is the time right?
Well, things have changed a lot. So, I mean, you're right. There's been a lot of failures. It's a path littered with failures. There's thousands of people who envision doing something like this. There's only a few that raise some money and very few that get built, and frankly, only 1 or 2 that actually were built and didn't go bankrupt. And one of them, actually, I was fortunate enough to have founded, called O3B Networks. And so it's very hard to do these things, but if you keep a very good eye on what the mission is and who the user is and how we're going to affect that change, and you have to have it in your gut. It's a mission as much as it is a business. And so between the technology advances and the microprocessor advances, between our incredible partners like Qualcomm, who is just, they're the leader in in building the chipsets for cell phones for handover between cell towers at extremely high speeds. I mean, we're handing over 100,000 separate internet connections a second. And so their chipsets have been really invaluable for us to be able to accomplish these goals.
But Greg, how do you square that awkward circle of a mission and also a business with a profit? Because you're working with telcos to price this. Are you sure that the right people are going to be able to gain access, that your utopia occurs?
Well, we're just trying to enable access, and the utopia may happen after that, but we have our mission. On pricing, what we're doing is building a system at a scale that allows us to provide services at a very low price to meet the $2 a day type income that the people in the really the lower LDCs, the lower 50 LDCs have. And so we've designed a system to accomplish those goals and do it profitably, which means that for all the other markets, the markets in the developed world where they can pay more, and the markets, of course, where you think about mobility for aviation and maritime, for instance, they'll obviously have a higher price, and so the whole thing squares together to be actually profitable and also accomplishing a very important goal.
Awkward question, but on balance, from what you've seen, President-elect Donald Trump, positive for technology and for your sort of businesses, or negative?
Well, so far so good. I think the market has spoken, and obviously the future we'll see, but so far so good.